I think I have a lot of questions about my dog.
He's half Cocker Spaniel and Australian Shepherd. I rescued him. He's from Japan.
I rescued him 3 years ago. He's an Australian Shepherd, and I adopted him while I was living in Japan. The shelter told me his rescue history was unclear. They only said he was found near an old house and that no one ever came looking for him. He was quiet, well-behaved, and strangely alert, like he was always listening to something I couldn't hear. At first, everything felt normal. He followed me everywhere and never caused trouble. But over time, I noticed small things that didn't make sense. He hated one specific place in my apartment, my closet. Whenever I opened it to put clothes away, he would freeze. Sometimes he would sit in front of it, blocking my path, staring inside like he was guarding it. I tried to ignore it. A few nights ago, I decided to record a video and post it online. I wanted advice. I wanted to explain his rescue history and ask if anyone else had experienced something similar. I set my phone up and started talking. I think I have a lot of questions about my dog, I said. He's an Australian Shepherd. I rescued him in Japan, and ever since then, that's when he started growling, not barking, not panicking.
He's half Cocker Spaniel and Australian Shepherd. I rescued him. He's from Japan.
Just a low, steady growl, aimed behind me. I slowly turned the camera toward my closet. The door was open. Clothes were hanging normally, jackets, shirts, dresses. Everything looked fine at first, then I noticed movement.
Do you want a tree? Yeah? You want a tree?
Behind the clothes, deep inside the closet, I saw a face. It was pale and partially hidden, pressed between the hanging clothes. The eyes were wide, fixed on the camera. The mouth was stretched into a smile that didn't look natural. It wasn't moving. It was just watching. My dog snapped, lunging forward, barking violently at the closet. I screamed and dropped the phone. The video ended there. I didn't check the footage until later. The face was clear on camera, smiling, waiting. What scares me most is what I found after. The rescue date on my dog's papers was exactly 3 years ago. That same day. And the place he was rescued from in Japan. An abandoned house where human remains were found hidden behind clothes in a closet. The CCTV footage from the dining room. The CCTV camera belonged to a small apartment where a woman lived alone. She was around 50 years old, quiet, and routine-driven. The camera was installed in the corner of the dining room, facing the table and part of the hallway. Nothing unusual had ever appeared on it before. The footage begins late at night. The woman enters the frame slowly and stops near the doorway. For a few seconds, she just stands there, staring toward the corner of the room where the camera is mounted. Her face looks blank, tired, almost distant, as if she's listening to something that isn't there. Then she turns away and walks to the dining table. She pulls out a chair and sits down. Her movements are heavy, slow. She rests her arms on the table and lowers her head slightly, like someone who hasn't slept in days. For a moment, everything is still, the room is silent. The chairs are neatly placed. Nothing moves. After a few seconds, her head drops further. She falls asleep sitting upright. That's when things change. One of the chairs at the table shifts. At first, it's barely noticeable, just a small movement, like someone nudged it. Then another chair slides back slightly, scraping across the floor without anyone touching it. The woman doesn't wake up. Her head hangs forward, unmoving. From the surface of the table, something dark begins to form. A black shadow slowly rises, thick and unnatural, spreading upward like smoke but heavier. It doesn't drift randomly. It moves with purpose, crawling across the table toward the woman's face. At the same time, the CCTV camera starts to move. It pans slowly, smoothly, as if someone is adjusting it by hand. The camera turns away from the table, then slowly back again, following the shadow's movement. There's no sound of motors. No one else is in the apartment. The shadow reaches the woman's face. Her head jerks up suddenly. Her eyes open wide. She stumbles out of the chair, terrified, backing away from the table. Her breathing is fast, panicked. She looks around wildly, trying to understand what she just felt. Then she notices the camera. It's moving again. The lens turns toward her, locking onto her position. She freezes, staring directly at it, realizing she's being watched. Her fear turns into pure panic. That's when the shadow lifts off the table. It rises into the air, stretching, twisting, forming something with wings. The shape flaps once, violently, and shoots upward, out of frame, like it's flying straight at the ceiling. The footage cuts to static. The woman never appears on camera again. I found a secret room under my kitchen. The house was old, but that didn't bother me. Old houses have character. History. At least, that's what I told myself when I moved in. The first strange thing happened around 2:17 a.m. I woke up to a faint metallic sound, like someone dragging a chair across concrete. It was coming from directly beneath my kitchen. I assumed it was plumbing. Old pipes make noise, right? The next morning, curiosity got the better of me. While cleaning, I noticed something odd. One tile near the sink sounded hollow when I stepped on it. I pressed down harder. It shifted. Under the tile was a small metal handle. My heart started racing as I pulled it up. Beneath it was a narrow trapdoor, sealed shut with rusted hinges. The smell that escaped when I opened it was unbearable, damp, moldy, and wrong. A ladder led down into darkness. Against my better judgment, I grabbed a flashlight and climbed down. The room below was small, concrete, and completely bare, except for deep scratches covering the walls. Long, uneven marks, like something had been clawing its way out. Then I noticed the door. A second door, embedded into the far wall, bolted shut from the outside. As I turned to leave, my flashlight flickered. And that's when I heard it. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Right behind the door. I ran back up the ladder, slammed the trapdoor shut, and shoved the tile back into place. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I called a contractor. He went down, came back up pale, and told me something I'll never forget. "There's no second door down there," he said. "And no scratches." That night, the dragging sound came back. This time, it was coming from inside my kitchen. I found a secret room in my apartment. When I moved into my new apartment, the landlord warned me about thin walls. What he didn't mention was the whispers. Every night, just as I was about to fall asleep, I heard murmured voices, soft, unintelligible, coming from behind my bedroom wall. I knocked on it once. The whispers stopped instantly. The next night, they were closer. I pressed my ear to the wall and froze. The voices weren't talking to each other. They were repeating what I had said earlier that day. Panicking, I searched the apartment. Behind my wardrobe, I found a narrow door hidden behind peeling wallpaper. I had never noticed it before. It wasn't locked. The room behind it was pitch black. Smaller than a closet. The walls were covered in names, hundreds of them, scratched deep into the paint. My name was already there. At the center of the room was a small hole in the wall, just big enough for an eye. Suddenly, the whispers stopped. Then a voice spoke clearly, inches from my ear. "You weren't supposed to find us yet." The door slammed shut behind me. I woke up the next morning in my bed. The hidden door was gone. The whispers were gone. But when I checked my phone, there was a voicemail time-stamped 3:33 a.m. It was my own voice, whispering my name. 3. Creepy true encounter on lonely highway. We were driving home late, past midnight, on a highway that cut straight through miles of forest. No lights. No houses. Just road. That's when we saw her. A woman standing completely still in the middle of the road. She didn't move as we approached. No attempt to wave us down. No reaction at all. Her face was pale. Expressionless. Her eyes, too wide. At the last second, my friend swerved around her. We laughed nervously, trying to convince ourselves it was nothing. 5 minutes later, she was there again. Same spot. Same posture. Same stare. This time, she smiled. We sped up. The third time, she was standing beside the car, keeping pace with us, running effortlessly, her head tilted at an impossible angle. My friend slammed the brakes. The road was empty. No woman. No footprints. Just a single handprint on the rear window. From the inside. My missing husband came home. But I just know it isn't him. It had been 6 months since Rick vanished without a trace. One morning, he'd kissed me goodbye and walked out the door like any other day, and never came back. The police searched. Neighbors posted flyers. Days bled into weeks and then months. We grieved, painfully and slowly, accepting the worst. I accepted it. But that all changed when he returned. It happened when I was in the garden, watering my petunias. I heard the gate creak, and there he stood, Rick. Same smile. Same hair glinting in the afternoon sun. It was him. Or at least, it looked like him. I froze. My heart slammed against my ribs. Our families were overjoyed, hugging and crying as if grief had magically reversed itself. But something about him felt off. He claimed he didn't know where he'd been. No memory of the 6 months he'd disappeared. Everyone else celebrated, but I couldn't shake the unease. At dinner, he drank tea, with sugar. Rick hated sugar. He always said it ruined the taste. That should have been a small detail, but it twisted in my gut like a warning. It grew worse. Other familiar things didn't match up either. The golf game he once never missed. He watched it once, and didn't care. He laughed when our neighbor Sally brought brownies, something Rick used to despise. And then, one night, I woke to see his face inches from mine, blank eyes staring straight into my soul. No recognition. Just a hollow, empty stare. I asked him about us, about our life, hoping for some spark of the man I married, but got nothing but polite smiles and vague answers. My once joyful home now felt like a haunting, the furniture unchanged, the air too still, the shadows too long. Something was undeniably wrong. I started doubting myself, wondering if grief had warped reality. But then I remembered the scar, the one perfectly shaped mark on Rick's forehead I had hated so much when he got it a year before he vanished. It was gone. I know this isn't him. And I don't know what is in my home, but I need to find out.